you ever stopped and wondered why some brands just stick? I mean, they get lodged in your head for years, even decades, while others just vanish the second you look away. Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain on how they do it. And let me tell you, it isn't magic, it's straight up engineering.
Okay, let's get real for a second. Think about it. That jingle for a cereal you haven't eaten since you were a kid, or that slogan for a car you've never, ever owned. It's just there, right? Tucked away in your brain, ready to pop out at any moment. How on earth does that happen?
Well, here's the thing. That memory sticking around isn't some happy little accident. It's not a random quirk of your mind. No, it's actually a very deliberate, very calculated strategy. Marketers design it that way to make sure their brand becomes a permanent part of your mental landscape.
And this whole strategy has a name: engineering consumer memory. It's all about the intentional process of making a brand totally unforgettable. And in this explainer, we're going to break down exactly how that engineering really works.
So what are we really talking about here? At its core, it's the process of intentionally influencing your memory to build these super strong connections. And the end game? Well, it's to guide what you buy and, maybe even more critically, to build that unshakable brand loyalty. It's basically psychology meeting your shopping cart.
Now, to really get how they do it, we first have to understand the basics of how our own minds work. So let's dive into the psychology of memory and see how marketers are tapping right into the fundamental mechanics of your brain.
You know, what's so wild is that our memory process at its heart is surprisingly simple. It really just boils down to 3 steps. First up is encoding. That's when you see an ad and your brain turns it into like a mental file. Then comes storage. Your brain files it away in a cabinet for later. And finally, retrieval. That's that magic moment when you're in the store and you pull that exact file back out. Marketers have a game plan for every single one of these stages.
And they're not just throwing things at the wall to see what sticks. They use these well-established psychological playbooks, known as learning theories, to make absolutely sure their brand gets encoded and stored in your brain precisely the way they want it to.
So let's look at 2 of the heavy hitters in their playbook. On one side, you've got classical conditioning. This is all about creating these automatic, almost gut-level connections between their product and a good feeling. And on the other side, there's operant conditioning, which is all about rewarding you to encourage you to keep coming back.
Just think about it for a second. When you see a commercial for a luxury car full of successful, beautiful people on an amazing road trip, they're not really just selling you a way to get from A to B. They are actively conditioning you to link their logo with the feeling of success and wealth. It's a brilliant, powerful connection that happens without you even thinking about it.
Now, operant conditioning, that's usually a lot more direct. You see it everywhere. Every single time you get loyalty points for buying that coffee, that's a little reward, reinforcing your decision. But it can be even simpler. When a product just works perfectly every time you use it, that amazing, satisfying experience is its own reward, making you way more likely to buy it again.
Okay, so we've got the psychology down. Now let's open up the marketer's toolkit and see the specific nitty-gritty tactics they're using every day to build those brand memories that last. And whoa, this toolkit is packed. It all starts with creating an emotional connection, linking the brand to powerful stuff like joy or that warm, fuzzy feeling of nostalgia. Then there's storytelling, which is huge, because our brains are just wired to remember a good story way better than a boring list of facts. Personalization makes us feel special, like the brand gets us. They also use simple associations, linking their brand to a sound or an image, and even simple brain hacks like chunking. Breaking a phone number into little digestible bits. And it's all wrapped up in simplicity and uniqueness, making sure their identity just cuts through all the noise. Every single tactic is meant to make remembering, both encoding and retrieving, as easy as possible for us. And one of the biggest, most powerful tools in the modern toolkit is something called experiential marketing. Think about those huge brand-sponsored concerts, or cool pop-up shops, or these totally immersive events. It's about creating a real, tangible, and emotional experience. By doing that, brands can engineer an incredibly powerful, positive memory that's tied directly to them. You're not just seeing the brand, you're living it.
So you might be thinking, wow, that is a ton of effort. And it is. So why bother? What's the ultimate payoff for all these companies? Let's break down exactly why they invest so much time and money into basically becoming a permanent resident in your brain. Well, it all comes down to real, tangible results. A strong brand memory leads directly to increased recall when you're about to buy something. That's the biggest piece of the pie right there. But look, it also seriously boosts loyalty. It strengthens all those positive feelings about the brand, and it even gets people talking.
That's word-of-mouth marketing, because we can't wait to tell our friends about things we remember.
So at the end of the day, when all these strategies click into place, the brand isn't just one of your options anymore. It becomes the option. It's the very first name that pops into your head when you think, I need to buy X. And that gives it an unbelievable advantage in a super crowded world.
So there you have it. We've peeked behind the curtain at how marketers engineer memory. From the deep psychology of conditioning to crafting these big emotional experiences, it's all part of a very sophisticated playbook. So I'll just leave you with this one question. Now that you know how it's all done, will you ever be able to look at an ad the same way